أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وأفضل الصلاة وتم التسليم على سيدنا محمد خاتم الأنبياء وإمام المرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. نويت تعلم وتعليم وتذكر وتذكير والنفع والانتفاع والإفادة والاستفادة والحث على تمسك بكتاب الله وبسنة رسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والدعاء إلى الهدى ودلالة على الخير وابتغاء وجه الله ومرضاته وقربه وثوابه سبحانه وتعالى وبعد. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي وبعد. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Shall I continue with the text of Imam Jawzi's Talbīs Iblīs? The Imam, we were discussing the section pertaining to the devil's deception in the matters of creed, al-aqidah, and religion. This is quite a lengthy section. It goes on for quite a while, but inshallah we'll try to make our way through it. I don't think, if Allah wills, we will, but I don't think we'll complete it in Ramadan. So we may have to have some sessions outside of Ramadan to try and complete the text, inshallah. So 5.4, what the Imam, rahimahullah ta'ala, he's doing in this section of the book is he's identifying all the deviant groups, and now he's identifying the points that they make about their false beliefs, and then he systematically is disproving what they believe in. So it's a very valuable section, hence why it's one of the lengthy ones within the text. So the devil's deception of the dualists, the Athanawiyya, they claim that there are two creators of this world. The good actor is the light, and the evil actor is the darkness. So you have like the yin and the yang, right? You've seen those signs with the black and the white, right? They are both pre-eternal, they say. They have always been and will always be strong, sensitive, aware, hearing and seeing. They differ in entity and image, and they oppose each other in action and management. The essence of light is virtuous, good, pure, good smelling, and pleasant appearing. Its essence is generous, wise, and befitting. From it come goodness, pleasure, happiness, and righteousness. There is no harmful or evil in it. On the other hand, the essence of the darkness is impurity, fault, stench, and ugliness. Its essence is evil, stingy, foolish, and harmful. From it generates evil and corruption. Abu Muhammad al-Nubakhti said about dualists, some of them claim that the light has always been above the darkness. Others said that they are both next to one another. Most of them said the light is high in the north direction, whilst the darkness is under in the south direction. Each of the two has been distant from the other. They claim that each of the two is of 5 forms, 4 bodies and 1 soul. The 4 bodies, they say, of light are fire, light, wind, and water, and its soul is a ghost, continuously moving between these bodies. As for the darkness, its 4 bodies are fire, darkness, hot smoke, and fog. Its soul is smoke. So what you see is they are attributing belief and the creator to nature. And if you look at when we were discussing the origins of the pagan traditions with regards to Christmas and Easter and all of these, it always goes back to these pagan beliefs. So whatever sects you come across, that these main sects, you will see that any disbelief, any deviancy that you see in this day and age, any corruption you see, you can trace back some similarities and roots back to these groups. Dualists refer to the bodies of the light as angels, and to those of darkness as devils and demons. Some of them said the darkness produces devils and the light produces angels. Neither one of the two can overcome the other. Al-Nubakhti mentioned many of their silly beliefs regarding the light and darkness, such as believing that man has ordered them not to store more food than what they need for one day. Some of them believe that a human must fast for 1/7 of his life and must refrain from lying, stinginess, magic, idol worship, fornication, and theft. And they are not to harm anything with a soul, in addition to many absurd beliefs they made up. So this is what the devil does. He gives you some righteous beliefs, some righteous actions to live by, but then he manipulates you in the comfort of that goodness. He starts to bring these deviant and corrupt beliefs for you as well. Yahya ibn Bishr al-Nahawandi said that a group of jewelers called Al-Disaniya claimed that the clay from which the world was formed was rough, and that this rough clay used to rub against the body of the Creator, a'udhu billah, causing him discomfort. He attempted to move it away from him, and some of his parts mixed with the clay. From this generated the world of light and darkness. The parts of the Creator that had the clay on it became the world of darkness, and those who did not became the world of light. This group assassinates people and chokes them to death. They claim that this will free the light from the darkness. What led them to adopt these beliefs was they saw that the world contains evil and disagreement. They said, two things that contradict one another cannot come from the same source, just as the fire cannot generate heat and coolness. Scholars of Islam refuted their creed by saying, if there were two creators, then there are three options. They are both able, they are both disabled, or one of them is able and the other is disabled in terms of actions. Neither of them can be unable, because this would be a deficiency that would contradict lordship, i.e. the Creator. So we are left with the first option, that both of them are able, i.e. to carry out things and actions. Now imagine that one of them wishes to move a body whilst the other wishes not to. Then it would be impossible to achieve what they both wish. If the wish of one of them is fulfilled, then this would prove that the other is disabled. And this act of disability, i.e. unable to carry out something, cannot be attributed to the Creator. As for their claim that the light does good and darkness does evil, the scholars refuted this by saying, if an oppressed person goes to seek shade in the darkness, then this would be a good thing that resulted from an evil entity. These beliefs are ridiculous, so dwelling in discussing such people must not take place. So the Imam says, do not even bother wasting your time with these people, because that is how ridiculous their thought process is. Because they said no goodness, that which is good cannot produce bad. That which is bad cannot produce good. So if something is darkness and somebody goes and takes shade underneath it from the sun, for example, the burning sun, now the darkness is doing an act of goodness. So that contradicts what they were saying. Okay. 5.5, the devil's deception of the philosophers, Al-Falsafa, and their followers. Now this is important because these philosophers, like the Aristotle and these people, they're the ones who cause a lot of issues. Imam Ghazali, rahimahullah ta'ala, what he done was, he wrote a book on philosophy. He got the trust of the philosophers. When they recognized his abilities and the philosophers saw that he was somebody who was, good in the line of philosophy, he then wrote a book to refute them, known as the Incoherence of the Philosophers. It's been translated. So then he refuted in the entire beliefs, and this is why he was given the title Hujjatul Islam, the proof of Islam. Nowadays you have, Maulvi Saab coming from Pakistan, and he's known as Hujjatul Islam. To earn that title of Hujjatul Islam, you need to do something for the Ummah. Right? You don't just give these titles out willy-nilly just for the sake of it. Iblis was able to deceive philosophers by making them have opinions and intellects that are independent of the teachings of the prophets. They spoke based on assumptions. Some of them adopted the opinions of secularists. that the world has no maker. This was attributed to them by Al-Nubakhti. Yahya ibn Bishr al-Nahawandi said that Aristotle and his followers claimed that Earth was a planet that is in the hollowness of the universe, and that each planet has different worlds on it, just as our Earth has rivers and trees. They denied the Creator, and many of them affirmed an ancient cause, and thus claimed that the world is with no beginning, and that the world had always existed along with Allah, caused by Him without a delay in time, just as the causer and the things caused exist simultaneously. They said sun ray is caused by the sun without any time and delay. We respond to them by asking, why do you deny that the world occurred as a result of an ancient will that dictated its occurrence at the time it had occurred? If they answer, this will necessitate a time connection between Allah and His creation, we say time is a creature. There was no time before time. And we say to them, was Allah able to make the thickness of the upper heaven more by 1 arm length or less by an arm length? If they answer negatively, then they are claiming that Allah was unable. Also, whatever could not have existed in a manner different than the manner in which it currently is, its existence is obligatory. And whatever's existence is obligatory would need no cause. And the only one that is obligatory, whose essence is wajib, is necessary, is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Everything else can be destroyed, and it will be destroyed. When the world at the end of time is all folded up like a carpet, the whole of the entire cosmos, then it will only remain Allah. And He will say, Aina malikul ard? Where are the kings of the earth? Philosophers attempted to conceal their belief by advocating that Allah is the creator of the world. They only say so in the metaphoric sense, not in reality. An actor must have the will to act. We're not talking about actor in a movie now. We're talking about actor as in carrying out actions. But to them, the universe existed by default, not that Allah had done, i.e. actively made it. They also believe that the world will always exist, just as it always has existed. Their justification of this belief is that the existence of the world was due to a pre-eternal cause, so it will continue to be associated with its cause. Had the existence of the world been only possible, not obligatory, then it could not have been pre-eternal or associated with a cause. Jalina said, had it been possible for the sun to become extinct, then it would have demonstrated some weakness after all of these years of existence. We answer him, things may become distinct suddenly without going through stages of weakness. In addition, how did he know that the sun was not weakening? They believe that the sun is 170 times the size of Earth. So even if mountains on it vanish, it would not be felt. Also, we know that gold and rubies are subject to corruption. However, they might stay for years without us feeling they're wearing out. In fact, to exist or not to exist only happens by the will of the all-able Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He never changes and never acquires new attributes. Only His actions change in accordance with an ancient will. Section 1 of the Philosophers. Abu Muhammad al-Hasan ibn Musa al-Nubakhti said in his book, Al-Ara wal-Diyanat, Opinions and Religions, that Socrates believed that all things are either a cause, an element, or an image. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to Socrates is the mind, the element is the basis of generation and corruption, and images are essences, not bodies. Others claim that Allah is the causer and that elements are the ones caused. And others said it was the mind who arranged all the things. And others said it was nature that arranged all things. Yahya ibn Bishr ibn Umayr al-Nahawandi said that some philosophers said, because we observe collection, dismantlement, motion and stillness in the world, therefore we realize that the world must be accidental and that it must have had a causer. We observed that when someone who cannot swim falls in the water and calls upon the Creator to help him, that he does not always rescue him. We concluded from this that the Creator does not exist. Okay, so you see this is like illogical reasonings that they're coming out with, which don't really make sense. Philosophers who denied the existence of a creator had three different opinions. Some claimed that after the Creator perfected this world, he liked it and feared that if he added or deleted anything to it, that it may become corrupt. So he destroyed himself, and the world became vacant of him, although his creation continued to operate as he had planned for it. A second group claimed that the universe appeared within the Creator and continued to take from his strength and light until all of the strength and light was transferred to the universe. The Creator depreciated until he became the size of a cat. They claimed that one day the Creator would regain his light from this world until he becomes as he once was, and that due to his weakness he neglected humans, so oppressions became prevalent. A third group said, after the Creator perfected the world, he disseminated himself in it. So every form of power present in the world resulted from this dissemination. I quoted Yahya ibn Bishr by referring to the copy of his book presented in Nizamiya School. It was written 120 years ago. Had these views not been propagated, and had they not been a good example of devil's deception, it would have been best to avoid mentioning these opinions out of glorification of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you are only hearing about these opinions to warn you against it. So if you look now, when you hear about these atheists, etc., their beliefs can be summed up within this section on the philosophers. Okay. Yes. No, this is so Socrates said one thing that was in the beginning, but these are like the views of different philosophers. Okay. Section 2. Most philosophers believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knew nothing except for knowing himself. It has been proven that a creature knows himself as well as his creator. So they made the creature of a higher status than the creator, a concept which is too disgraceful to be discussed. Look at Iblis' deception of these idiots. He's using the word idiot, not me. Okay? But he's right. Of these idiots who claim to have perfect minds. Abu Ali ibn Sina disagreed with them. He believed that Allah knew himself and knew of things in general, not in detail. Al-Mu'tazila embraced this opinion as well. It is as if they felt that details were too many for anyone to know. All praise is due to Allah for making us amongst those who deny ignorance and fault from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We believe in his saying, أَلَا يَعْلَمُ مَنْ خَلَقَ وَهُوَ اللَّطِيفُ الْخَبِيرُ. Does he who created not know whilst he is the subtle, the acquainted? Surah Al-Mulk 67 verse 14. And وَيَعْلَمُ فِي الْبَرِّ وَالْبَحْرِ وَمَا تَسْقُطُ مِنْ وَرَقَةٍ إِلَّا يَعْلَمُهَا. And he knows what is on the land and in the sea. Not a leaf falls, but that he knows it. Surah An'am, Surah 6, verse 59. They also believe that Allah's knowledge and ability were his essence. This is so they do not have to affirm more than one pre-eternal deity. We respond by saying there is only one pre-eternal deity, but with numerous attributes. Section 3 on the philosophers. Philosophers denied resurrection and the return of souls to bodies. They also believed that heaven and hell were not physical places, and that they were only mentioned in the Qur'an and Sunnah as metaphors, given to the normal folk to understand spiritual reward and punishment. And you can see that now. What do disbelievers say? Religion is a man-made construct. Man-made construct to control people, to control civilization. So it's similar beliefs. It all traces back to these groups. In addition, they claim that the soul remains eternally after death, either enjoying indescribable bliss for perfect souls or suffering from indescribable anguish for polluted souls. The amount of pain varies from one soul to another. Some souls might have some or all of their pain eliminated. We respond, we do not deny that the soul continues to exist after death and that it will be subject to pleasure or pain. However, what is it that prevents from resurrection of bodies? Why would we deny physical pleasure and pain in heaven and hell? Islam has affirmed all of this, so we believe in both physical and spiritual fortune and misfortune. As for your claim that facts were in fact metaphors, there is no proof for this. If they say bodies disintegrate and transform, we reply, nothing stands in front of Allah's ability. When Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam, he asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala how he creates, how he brings to life. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells him to go and get birds, cut them up into pieces, the meat, mix it together. Once it's all mixed up, go and place it upon different mountains. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls to them and they all come forth recreated in their original form. Because that's how it is easy for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If he wishes something to pass, he says, kun, be, fayakun, and it is. Also, a human will always remain human. If you were given a body made from clay, other than the clay from which he was created, he will still be the same person. Right? And you can see that now. Now they're doing artificial transplants, aren't they? Yeah? So putting, is it pig's hearts in people and stuff? Doing all this kind of stuff? But the person still remains a person. Right? Just as his body parts change as he grows, and as he gains or loses weight, he still remains the same person. If they say the body only becomes a body because of the meat and veins, we respond, Allah's abilities does not stop at what we see. And our Prophet ﷺ informed us that bodies would grow in the graves right before resurrection. Because there will be a rain that comes down. Imam Abdullah bin Alawi Khadar rahimahullah in his Lives of Man, he mentions that towards the end of time, before the day of resurrection, there will be a rain which comes down and the bodies will begin to grow again as they once were. And then the people will be called to the day of resurrection. Inshallah, we'll do that text one day as well. Abu Hurairah radiallahu anh said, Allah's Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, between the two blows of the horn, there will be 40. They asked, 40 days? He sallallahu alayhi wasallam refused. He said, I refuse to answer. They said, 40 months. He replied, I refuse. They said, 40 years. He replied, I refuse. Then Allah will bring water down from the heavens so people will grow just like legume. Everything in the human dissolves except for the lower backbone. From it, the human will be reconstructed on Judgment Day. This is a hadith muttafaqun alayh, found in the collection of Imam Bukhari and Imam Muslim. Section 4 on the philosophers. Iblis has this, so you see, the philosophers are one of the most evil groups, so the Imam is going in even more detail, refuting them. Iblis has deceived groups of Muslims by creeping to them through their high intelligence. He made them think that the right thing is to follow philosophers because they claim to be wise men who had sayings and actions that demonstrated high intelligence. This is why it annoys me when I see people quoting Socrates and Aristotle. You know, you want wise sayings, go and look to Ghazali. You want wise sayings, go look towards Sayyidina Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani. Look towards the Prophet ﷺ, the ahadith. Look to the companions. Going to kuffar with their philosophy and quoting them. What they're doing here now is they're normalizing quoting these people. Then people will begin to normalize reading and taking from their corrupt beliefs as well. Yes.
Scholars do that.
Scholars?
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about laymen. Sometimes scholars do. I've seen scholars doing it as well. Oh, is that what you were saying?
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, they shouldn't. Because then what they're doing is they're making people go look into it. Yeah, they're normalizing looking into these people, right? And people who are on a basic level, who don't know Aqidah and stuff, when they go and start looking into it, that's when the corruption occurs. This is why the likes of Ibn Jawzi, rahimahullah ta'ala, he's produced texts like this. This is why Imam Ghazali, rahimahullah ta'ala, produced the text that he did. But nowadays, it's all about likes and retweets and quote tweets and all of these kind of things, right? Socrates, Hippocrates, Plato, Aristoteles, and I think I'm pronouncing this right, Jalinus, contributed to sciences of engineering, logic, and nature. They arrived with their intelligence at subtle things. However, when they began discussing religion, they erred. This is why they disagreed in these matters, but never disagreed in mathematics and engineering. We have mentioned the error in religion in the previous sections of this book. The reason for the error is that humans are unable to comprehend the details of religion. They can only comprehend generalities, then they must refer to revelation for the details. So it's your logic, your intellect is not what encompasses religion. It's religion what encompasses everything. It's Allah who encompasses everything. Some early Muslims were told that those philosophers denied the creator and rejected religions and claimed that they were only metaphors and tricks. So those Muslims believed them. So they in turn rejected religion, neglected prayers, indulged in prohibitions, and disregarded the limitations set by the religion. Jews and Christians have more of an excuse because they are holding to religions that were proven by miracles. i.e. the prophets were there amongst them. Innovators in religion also have a better excuse because they call for contemplating proofs. Those followers of philosophers, on the other hand, have no backing for their disbelief, except that they thought philosophers to be wise. Have they not known that the prophets were wiser also? That's what I just said, right? There's a reason these sections I'm not going into any commentary because I don't need to. The Imam is just completely disseminating them completely. In addition, what those Muslims were told about the philosophers denying the creator was not true. Most of them affirmed the creator and did not deny prophecies. They only disregarded contemplating religion. A few of them did follow secularists whose intellects became fully corrupt. Some followers of philosophers from our nation gained nothing except confusion. They followed neither Greek philosophy nor Islam. In fact, some of them pray and fast, but object to the creator and prophecies and deny resurrection. They all were stricken with severe poverty. So they were always disgruntled about their destiny and objecting to the predestiner. One of them told me, I only argue with the one above the heavens. He used to say a lot of poetry describing the world. So this is what he said. Do you think it was a creation of a creator, or do you think it was a throw with no thrower? So he's denying the creator now. Because they're in poverty and because of their circumstance, now Satan's coming to them and telling them there must be no creator. This is why you're in this state. And this is what he does to Muslims. You're in this state. If there was Allah, he would not, a'udhu billah, he would not have put you through this. This is what he makes these people think. And in another poem, he said, how strange is an existence that was not preceded with our choice or knowledge. So now he wants choice and knowledge before. Right? As if it were in a struggle. No intelligence, no softness, and no aggressiveness can relieve us from it. We are in darkness with no moon, to light no sun and no torch. We are astonished in wonder, surrounded by ignorance that has a frowning face. Deeds in it are with no actions, and sayings in it are all foolishness. Just like his poem is foolishness. Section 5. The time of philosophers and that of monks are recent to our time. So some Muslims extended their hands to hold on to philosophy and others to monasticism. Some foolish persons, when contemplating matters of creed, tended towards philosophizing. Others, when contemplating matters of asceticism, tended towards monasticism. We ask Allah's steadfastness on our faith and security from our enemy. So, what we take from this is, stay away from philosophers and stay away from philosophy. Because even when you become a student, right, Falsafa is a branch of knowledge. It's a branch of knowledge within the deen as well. People study it. This is why you have the likes of Ghazali. However, the cautionary position is that you should stay away from the study of philosophy. Because philosophy, it plays on your intellect and your logic and your reasoning, which will lead you down a negative path. Because the Satan will play upon this. So be very careful. And even if you possess a sound understanding, do not become comfortable in your level of education and how much you have done, because the Satan can come and he can misguide even those who spent hundreds of years in worship. Just like we saw the Jewish worshipper, how he completely dismantled his position with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he dies an unbeliever. So ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect us from these deviant beliefs. Inshallah, we're going to stop there today and we'll continue tomorrow. وَمَا عَلَيْنَا إِلَّا بَلَاغٌ مُبِينٌ وَصَلَى اللَّهُ عَلَى سَيِّدِنَا مُحَمَّدٍ وَعَلَى آلِهِ وَصَحْبِهِ وَسَلَّمَ تَسْلِيمًا كَثِيرًا. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.